Give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Sign him up for the Box of Bait Club and he'll never be hungry again. The Box of Bait Club is a brand new dream come true for every fisherman. Something new and different in your tackle box every month. Every month, another excuse to get outside and do what you love. Don't let this one get away. The Box of Bait Club is currently accepting a limited number of pre-orders with subscriptions starting at $39.95 per month. Find out more now. Log on to boxofbaitclub.com.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-616-8010. That's 1-800-616-8010. Again, 1-800-616-8010. Call now.
Are you tired of commuting to a job that makes someone else rich? Working harder than ever, but getting nowhere? Do you hate spending hundreds of dollars every week on daycare? Having someone else raise your children? With our opportunities, you can start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss, work from home, and live a happier life. At Be the Boss Network, you'll find hundreds of work-from-home opportunities that you can literally start today and be earning money as soon as next week. Go to freedom133.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss. Get out of the rat race. Work from home. Go to freedom133.com right now and change your life today. That's freedom133.com. Go to freedom133.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You be the boss. Go to freedom133.com.
Attention business owners. We know that owning a business means getting things done right now. So if your right now list includes a new building, call the Right Now Company. General Steel. We can design a building for your business quickly and save you thousands of dollars. That's right, thousands. You may think General Steel only builds large projects or that you can't afford General Steel quality. Well, check these prices. How about a 40 by 60 foot building for under $22,000 or even a 50 by 100 for under $35,000? That's right, a 5,000 square foot building for under $35,000. And these buildings all have General Steel quality. Best of all, you can still order a building and have it delivered in time to build this year. How's that for right now? So if your right now list includes a new building, call the Right Now Company, General Steel.
800-393-5756. 800-393-5756. 800-393-5756. That's 800-393-5756.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
Boy, man, I had a rough night's sleep. Boy, I got a letter from the IRS yesterday and I just couldn't sleep. Man, I'm dying here. Somebody help me.
IRS problems affect more than just your finances. If you're ready to take back control of your life and you owe more than $10,000, you need to call the tax doctor. Their expert staff can immediately protect you from the IRS and state collectors and get you the best possible tax settlement guaranteed. The IRS has recently released new programs geared in helping struggling taxpayers, where you may qualify to settle your tax debt and wipe out up to 85% or more of what you currently owe. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, call the tax doctor right now. See if you qualify to pay less. 800-989-1694. 800-989-1694. 800-989-1694. Again, 800-989-1694.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge. Coming to you live from my bunkerized home studio somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire, where the state motto is still live free or die. It is not big government or bust. And yes, I did check again today just to make sure it has not yet changed. The call-in number this morning, 603-835-3224. Again, that's 603-835-3224. Here it is on a Tuesday, January the 12th already. And what is that? It's approaching the middle of the month of January 2016. The first month of the year is almost half over. How fast is time moving for you? It's moving really fast for me because I'm having a whole bunch of fun here, let me tell you. Although, speaking of fun, got a lot to cover today. A lot of stuff. I know I wasn't here yesterday live. I do apologize. Had some family legal matters to attend to in the state of New York. Thank you, New York State, for being so difficult in legal matters. Just ridiculous. This is why I say that, you've got too many. The reason why, well, we have more regulations and rules on the books than we have laws. Now, however, regulations and rules are not laws, but in this country, they often carry the same weight and penalties, or even greater weight and penalties than the law itself. And regulations are not passed by Congress. Regulations are passed by bureaucrats, and they're treated like laws that are passed by Congress. So, see, this is the kind of stuff that really has to stop. Because you have a bunch of unelected, unaccountable, bureaucratic officials in Washington, D.C., who decide that, this way is going to be the best way to do something. And there's no debate. I mean, they have these false things called, these fake things called, open arguments or what have you, forums and such, and meetings, just to let you know about whenever you get to the point where a bureaucrat or a department or an agency has an open comment period on something, 9 times out of 10, the regulations have already been written. And they're not even paying attention to what you have to say. And yet when they decide to publish these regulations and rules, there is no review of them by our elected officials. They just get placed in the Federal Register, and they effectively become law. There is no accountability. Oftentimes, a citizen can't sue to get the regulation changed or dropped because they've added another obstacle in our way called standing. Well, you haven't been affected by this law or this regulation yet, so you don't have any standing. Well, wait, so I have to wait until I'm harmed by this regulation before I can sue to get them to stop? Yes, because otherwise there's no such thing as having standing. You're an American citizen. Your federal government of this country has issued a rule that is akin to a law. You automatically have standing. There's no such thing as standing. I mean, this is something that judges came up with, some time ago to try to keep, without trying to damage the federal government and the federal power base. Because they knew that they couldn't let certain things go to trial. They really couldn't. Because it would end up having to be ruled against the federal government. Let's see. We already have a call this morning, 850. You're live on the Rod Eccles Show. Go.
Yeah, I want to call and voice my support for Donald Trump.
Of course you do.
I'm from Florida. Yeah. I think all Christians in this country should really think hard about Donald Trump because Donald Trump is trying to fight and keep Americans safe from Muslims, from Islam, people that want to come in and destroy our country. And he's trying to do everything to protect it, close our borders down. It'll provide more jobs. It'll cause the pay to go up because jobs will be in great demand. There'll be a lot of companies that need more workers. And you don't think Ted Cruz would do that? No, I don't think.
You don't think Fiorina would do that?
Ted Cruz is just another that's going to be a yes man to what Washington wants.
Well, he hasn't been a yes man yet, but okay. Do you think Carly Fiorina would do that? Would protect Americans in the border?
No.
You don't think Carly would? You don't think Dr. Carson would be able to do that?
No. I think Trump's the one that came out, brought it all out to the open, and now everybody's trying to copy him. I don't think their heart's in it.
Well, I heard something earlier this morning about somebody saying that Cruz was copying Trump. To be fair, actually, Cruz has been saying a lot of this stuff well before the presidential race started and anybody decided to get in, including Trump. So I think it's a little bit unfair to characterize him as a yes man. This guy is like a Rand Paul. He's been standing up against the establishment since the first day he was elected. So,
Cruz is senator of Texas. Texas is the biggest state. More drugs come through the border of Texas. More illegal aliens come through the border of Texas. Well, if you can't fix your own state, how are you going to fix the United States?
Well, remember they can't put troops. They can't put National Guard troops on the border. That's already been said. No. The Fed said that's our realm of responsibility. Texas can't do anything about it. And you got the same thing happening over in Arizona. Sheriff Arpaio tried to do some stuff, and other sheriffs over there in Arizona, they have huge counties out there, and they've been told, no, you can't do this, you can't do that. So is it really the fault of Ted Cruz that the federal government isn't living up to their responsibility? I mean, the president isn't protecting the borders. President at the time, when Ted Cruz was first elected, is Obama. So can we really blame any of the senators? Because you got Rand Paul, too. Would Rand Paul close the borders, do you think? Do you think he'd protect us?
No, but I think Donald Trump would be the one that would do what he said. He's not getting any money from anybody. He's funding everything himself. He's not going to owe anybody favors. And we all know, all these people that donate all this big money, they're going to come back to these, oh, you remember all this money we donated to you? It's been going on like that for years. And we got to have somebody in there that's going to say no to that. And I just don't see all this money coming into these other candidates that they're going to be able to say no to them.
Donald Trump has also recently said that he would push for, if he were president, push for a 45% tariff tax on Chinese goods coming into the United States. You think that's a good idea?
For items coming in from China?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, because, my opinion all along is if you want to move your business outside the United States, I would raise the taxes so high to make you sell your goods back into the United States that it would be cheaper to bring your business back to the United States, and it'd create more jobs.
So you would set off a trade war then?
Exactly.
You think that's a good idea?
Set
off a trade war. So you think
think about it. Like Nike moved to Korea, Philippines, wherever.
Yeah,
so if you want to sell a pair of Nikes in the United States, it would cost you more money to sell that one pair of shoes.
Hold on. So countries should go back to being isolationist and protectionist, and trade should be severely limited between countries because, hey, if we're going to charge them 45 or 50% to send their goods in the United States, don't you think that they would do the same thing to us?
Of course, but we import more than we export.
Well, do you think that raising tariff rates to 45 or 50% is going to increase a country's exports?
It's not going to create our country's exports more, but it will provide, more companies in the United States, and companies will do better in the United States.
But
if you offer these big companies tax breaks to come back into the United States, that's going to create a lot of jobs. It's going to bring our economy back up.
Yeah, but this is a global economy now. Our companies are so large that they cannot, without exporting, without trading with international partners, there's no way they can keep their size and their employment level. So 300 million Americans wouldn't be able to find enough gainful employment if there's no exporting. And if you start having 45, 50, 60% tariffs, we've already known from past that tariffs do a huge amount of damage to exporting for the countries that are involved. So if we cut our, let's say, 45%, cuts our exports, what are the people that work in the exporting business going to do?
Well, it's going to limit them, But, I saw something earlier about the, our country's all gone to electronics and stuff like that. Well, look how many jobs that's put America out of. We're being replaced by computers and electronic equipment. And who's making all that electronic equipment? China.
That's what they said about the print when they invented the printing press too. Well, look at all those people that are going to be, all those scribes are going to be put out of work.
Well, in my town, and I'm in Tallahassee, Florida, and we used to have 10 video stores, like Hollywood Videos, Graves Videos, Blockbusters. We have none. We have none no more.
Things are always changing. All those people that once worked in for instance, vinyl records used to be very huge. Well, there's hardly vinyl record manufacturing facilities left on the entire planet. There's very few of them because they went to CDs and then went to digital tapes. And people find jobs in other areas as technology changes. That's the way it's always been. We can't keep things the way they were back in 1910. It just won't work that way.
It'd be a lot simpler.
That it would be, no doubt. Cell phone. Well, you wouldn't have a cell phone. 1910, I wouldn't be on the air. So,
right. I just think we need a leader that is going to be tough. And I know the media all says, well, Trump can't do this. He's got no experience with foreign relations, and what did Obama have?
I'm going to give Donald his credit as far as foreign relations and negotiating. He's an international businessman, and When you're
Right.
dealing with a lot of these foreign, when you're doing a lot like he has to deal with Scotland right now, with them trying to do certain things to one of his golf clubs in Scotland, and he's just, well, they're saying, we're just going to ban Donald Trump from entering the United Kingdom, and Trump just pretty much responded, look, I built all these wonderful golf clubs. Some of you like them, some of you don't. Who cares? But if you prevent me from going, I'm just going to shut everything down, and all those people are going to lose jobs. I can see where you can say that he might be a strong international type of person, because Donald Trump is all about the win-win, and as long as he wins, the rest doesn't matter. And I'm with you. I firmly believe that Donald Trump would be in the corner of the United States, and his attitude would be, as long as the United States wins, it doesn't matter who else wins.
Well, the biggest thing is, these Democrats have ran this country the last 8 years, and, there's more corruption in Washington than there's ever been. And we need somebody that won't be afraid to go in there and tackle these people. Yes, I think Cruz probably would do it too, but I think Cruz's hands would be more tied than Trump's hands would be. Trump go in there with an attitude. He may just get rid of everybody and put all new people in.
Well, that would be interesting to see, indeed.
Well, it probably what needs to happen, because, you take Hillary's emails and, we don't want to see the emails that they just want us to see. We want to see all the emails,
Yeah.
Let the people determine what is corruption and what is not, or, what is top secret and stuff like that, But I just think there's too much cover up going on in Washington, and we got to have somebody in there. And I think Trump would be the one that would, put the foot down and, like he says, make America great again. But we've got to do something about closing this border off and stop allowing all these illegals in and getting rid of some of the illegals we got. And like Donald says, hey, if they want to come in and become illegal, then they can stay. If not, we don't want them here. We don't need them here.
Now, do you think that, a lot of people are talking about that if we have the wall, then that's obviously going to stop a lot of people from coming in. But however, what about if we just followed and enforced some of the laws that we currently have in the books and let people self-deport? If they can't come here to make an illegal living, do you think we really need to put up a wall?
Well, I don't think the wall is the big issue. I think if we cut back there, don't give illegals welfare, Medicare, free health care, and we cut that part up, that'll make them leave. But they're all coming over because, that's what they're being told. But the wall would do one good thing. It would definitely cut down on the amount of drug trafficking coming across those borders. Because it would be very hard to carry a 200-pound bell over the wall.
Well, the drugs that are coming across the border, we know that they're building tunnels for that kind of stuff. But
right. Well, for the most part, and you still got backpackers coming across. But I know myself, used to stay down in Laredo, Texas, that there's places down there that is very easy to get across the border back and forth. But my other point on that issue is, have you taken a look at who is protecting, who makes up the majority of our border patrol down there?
Who makes up the majority of the border patrol? Mexicans?
Yes. I mean, if you look at them, and I'm in Texas quite a bit because I travel a lot, and actually I'll be going there in 2 weeks. But I'm going to say 90% of the border patrol are made up of Mexicans. Now, we know our government's corrupted. So you tell me that they don't have a hand in bringing illegals across? You know? Yeah, they're going to stop some.
I see a lot of border patrols, getting patrolmen getting shot at. So I haven't been on the border. I haven't seen it with my own eyes. I could not tell you. I hear people like Sean Hannity, who goes down there quite often, talk about the border patrol agents, and he does nothing but praise them. So I couldn't tell you. I haven't seen any reports. I don't know how many foreigners or legal immigrants are actually border patrol agents. I do know that there probably is a significant number, because up here in New England we have a border patrol obviously up here as well. But I've gone by a few checkpoints in Vermont, and it. Some of the border patrol agents, they were of Latin descent and Latin heritage, and they still had a Latin American accent from whatever country that they were from. I understand that point, but evidently and obviously these people have come here for a reason. Look, we've got foreigners that are not citizens that are in the United States military, so it's not that we have foreigners that are working in government jobs like that. They obviously are at least pretend to be loyal to the USA, which is a good thing.
Do you understand that there's a lot of these foreigners that over here for like seasonal work, the work fields, whether it's tobacco fields, vegetable fields, blah, 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 and I've seen it. I've seen it in North Carolina. There'll be 20 of them to stay in one house. They all pitch in a little bit of money. It don't cost them much. They all save their money. They take it back home to Mexico. Okay? They don't pay taxes.
Well, if they're being paid under the table, no, they're not paying taxes. But usually,
right?
Usually that they're able to get a fake ID with a fake Social Security number, so they're paying payroll taxes. Anyway.
Well, but agriculture's got that thing, where they're tax exempt. So they don't pay taxes.
Well, that could be the case too.
But I don't care where you go, what state you go to, you see large farms, you see a lot of Spanish people working. They're getting paid under the table.
Well,
they're taking all that money back to Mexico.
That all comes about because we Americans, we're kind of cheap. We've been Walmartized. We don't. It's true, because if you look at most of the rest of the world, most of the industrialized world. I'm talking Europe and industrialized Asia, places like that. Europeans and Asians and East and Western Europeans, Asians, they spend a greater portion of their weekly paycheck on food. Now, we Americans have gotten into this notion that we should, spend as little on our food as we possibly can get away with, which means if you're going to have cheap food, you got to have cheap labor to grow and pick it. Which is why the United States also has a bunch of food that really isn't food. It's made out of chemicals and flavorings and all that kind of stuff, because it's able to make food that's cheap, because we don't want to spend $200 a week on food. We want to spend $75 a week on food, and if we can't, and hell, we'd like to even spend even less than that if it's possible. It's an amazing thing.
Well, but I'll tell you what, you hadn't been grocery shopping in Florida. It ain't nothing cheap here.
You know what I like? You know what I want to know? I want to know if Donald Trump and Melania actually use coupons.
Is what now?
If they use coupons. Coupons?
Coupons?
Yeah.
I doubt it.
Well, I mean, everybody says that's what people do. Is they use coupons.
I don't use them, and it's not because I don't think that they save money, because I know people that use them and do very well with them. But I guess I don't get the Sunday paper.
Well, I'm up against a hard break, though, but I do appreciate your call, and we'll put one in the corner for Donald Trump. Thanks for the call. And folks, we will be right back.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-616-8010. That's 1-800-616-8010. Again, 1-800-616-8010. Call now.
Did you ever look at the stains in your coffee cup and then realize that's exactly what happens to your teeth? Power Swabs is the 5-minute solution to get your teeth white without visiting the dentist. This is Ben Gordon with Power Swabs, and if your teeth are stained from coffee, tea, or smoking, all it takes is 5 minutes with Power Swabs. In 5 minutes, you'll see an average of 2 shades whiter teeth, and in 7 days, 6 shades. It's clinically proven to whiten natural teeth as well as caps and veneers. The secret is a tooth detergent that was developed by Dr. Martin Ginniger that lifts stains off of your teeth. Best of all, there's no messy strips or trays that you have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth for 5 minutes and you're done. To try Power Swabs risk-free, call 1-800-291-5140. That's 1-800-291-5140. I guarantee your bright white smile will have your friends talking about how great you look. Try it risk-free today. 1-800-291-5140. That's 1-800-291-5140.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
Start training for a new career in as little as 18 days. National EMS Institute's innovative boot camp program will train you for a new career. Learn to respond to emergency situations and become a certified EMT in just 18 days. National EMS Institute guarantees 100% job placement. Visit www.nationaleMSinstitute.com today to learn more about our 18-day boot camp. Or call us at 1-800-497-6732. NationalEMSInstitute.com.
Stuck in a boring, low-paid job? By 2017, there will be a shortage of 2 million cybersecurity jobs worldwide. If you have a technical background but don't have a computer certification, you are being drastically underpaid. In months, you could be qualified for a new job in information technology, making real money with real job security. A new career is just a few clicks away at thecodeoflearning.com.
Bring the rain.
303-835-3224 is the number to call should you wish to join me here on the Rod Eccles Show, because I am your lovable host, El Rod, coming to you live this Tuesday morning. Thanks for the call from the gentleman from Florida. Look, I know people are out there backing Trump. I hear people talking about, one of the problems is that we tend to get to, some of us tend to get stuck on one person. Now, I have said this before. There isn't a perfect candidate out there. Sure, you can say who you believe is the best candidate, but he's not the only person. He's not the only one. And if you take each candidate, now, if you take each candidate and, I think somebody has done that, search online, but if you take each candidate and you look at the major issues that the American people seem to care about the most right now, if you take the top 10 issues and you just put all the candidates down in a line, then all you got to do is start asking the specific question and getting, does this candidate believe this, or this, or this, or this, and, doing the yes or no thing. And when people actually see that in front of them, they're kind of shocked sometimes. Because they thought, well, this candidate is the only candidate, my candidate's the only candidate who believes this. And then they start looking at this type of thing, this type of list, and they see that, no, this candidate was this other candidate here, and that candidate there said something almost exactly the same, very similar, or they have the same beliefs, what have you. So what I'm saying is that people get locked in this mode that, Republicans seem to do this the most. Republicans seem to do this the most. My candidate, he's the only candidate who believes this, this, and this. And then their candidate doesn't win the nomination. So then the Republican, because that was their only candidate, they sit at home and they pout and they don't vote. Now, what I'm telling you is that's childish and it's wrong. It's idiotic. Surely, I understand. Well, look, I understand that that you may have this cult-like attachment to Trump or to Cruz or to Rand Paul or whomever. But understand, maybe you believe, with all of your fiber in your being, that your candidate is the best of the candidates available. Great. But if that candidate doesn't win because somebody else thinks that the candidate who did win, their candidate was the best available. So everybody's out there supporting somebody whom they truly believe to be the best candidate available. Well, they all can't be the best candidate available. And we can only have one nominee. So when your nominee doesn't win, now I'm going to be frank, because the field is still pretty large. Most likely your candidate is not going to get the nod. Now, understand, it's who's voting. And you cannot say that this year this is all about, big money and stuff like that. Because let's face it, the big money candidates are not winning. I mean, the big backed candidates are not winning. Chris, well, some of them are trying to move up in the polls, but you got to ask, is it due to some other people falling and getting out of the race? I mean, obviously, those people that supported, people like Scott Walker, they got to go somewhere. But the big moneyed and big backed candidates like Jeb Bush, Chris Christie, and even to a certain extent, even though he's moved up in the polls, quite a bit lately, Marco Rubio, really aren't doing very well. So you can't tell me that, it's all about the money behind Donald Trump or it's all about the money behind Ted Cruz, because that's not true. This is one of those election seasons where it seems like the people, at least on the Republican side, the people truly are more in charge of the electoral process than the party is. The party has been trying to direct and dictate who they would prefer, who they want, and the voters, the Republican voters, just aren't buying it yet. So, if your candidate doesn't win, the excuse for it was big money that killed him is not going to be true this time. So if big money is not behind if Jeb Bush ends up being the nominee, I can just see everybody, just having a hissy fit and half the Republican base staying home or what have you. I can understand that. But, if Ted Cruz or Donald Trump wins the nomination, it isn't due to the fact that the big money party backers have funneled a lot of money into this thing, into their campaigns, because that won't be true. They poured a lot of money into anti-Trump and anti-Cruz campaigns, that's for sure. So if your candidate doesn't win, it is because the voter, the people, not enough of them liked your candidate. Now, I know that's kind of tough. That's kind of hard to swallow, that people don't like who you like. Well, it happens every day. So buck up, grow up, and get over that. And whoever the nominee is, whoever that nominee is, even if it's a freaking Jeb Bush, whoever the nominee is going to be 100 times better as president than a Hillary Clinton or Bernie Sanders or Joe Biden. Understand that. Now, you can sit, bite your lip, and pout all you want, but if you're going to stay home and not vote again, well, then thank you very much for electing a Hillary Clinton or Bernie Sanders. Now, you've just gone through about 7 years of the most diabolical, America-hating president, all due to the fact that some of you were so damn childish that you stayed at home in 2012 instead of getting off your duff and going to vote. Well, I don't like Mitt Romney. Well, supposedly you didn't like Barack Obama anymore. Now, I don't know, but I'm looking at all this stuff online over the past 4 years, and I got to tell you, I think some of you who didn't like Romney kind of like him now. Because you sure as hell don't like Obama. But if you didn't get off your ass and go vote, then it's your freaking fault that we've got Obama sitting in office for a second full term. If you're going to be childish because your freaking candidate didn't get nominated because the voters of this country, of this party, didn't like your candidate, well, that's too damn bad. Grow up. This isn't about your feelings. This is about the future of this country. And Americans have got to stop acting like childish 2-year-olds. Now, you're not going to hear this from anybody else, but look, I am not your granddad or your dad or anything else, but I'm just going to tell you the freaking truth. The truth is that Barack Hussein Obama did not win the 2012 election. The stupid Republican base gave it to him. Do you understand the difference? So I can just see it now. All of you Donald Trump supporters out there, if Donald Trump doesn't get the nomination, you're going to go sit and pout in the corner and try not to go out there and vote. And that's going to be the biggest dumbass mistake you've ever made in this country's history. Because then you're going to give this country over to the Democrat who's going to be Hillary Clinton or Bernie Sanders. And you might as well forget about any election after that because it will be over. There will be no Constitution, so there won't be anything for you to gripe about. Do you understand that? For you adamant Ted Cruz supporters, I think you guys are more fanatical than Donald Trump supporters. The same thing. Ted Cruz is not the only candidate that you can vote for. And you Rand Paulites, grow up. I mean, this is absolutely ludicrous. Well, Rand Paul's the only one. No, bullshit. He's not the only one. We've got a country of 320 plus million legal people living here. And you're going to tell me only a handful of people are qualified? There's only one? Every single one of those Republican candidates, even the ones that have gotten out of the race thus far, would be a far better choice than any of the Democratic candidates that are currently running or thinking about running. That includes Joe Biden and Elizabeth Warren. How would you like to have one of them as president? How would you like to have one of them use their power, their bully pulpit, to change the Senate and the House again? Back to Democrat. Remember the last time we had that happen? Yeah. How many of you are very happy about Obamacare right now? You got Obamacare because you sat on your ass back in 2008 because you were having a hissy fit that John McCain got the nomination. I didn't like McCain either. But I told you back then that the alternative was far worse than a McCain. There is not a single sentient being who has a sense of logic and intelligence in their head that could possibly say that McCain would have been worse than Obama. Now, what I'm telling you is, you can believe it or not believe it. And yeah, I do care if you believe it or not believe it, because I have to live in this country too. And there's no place for me to go when idiots decide not to vote. Rod, some people shouldn't vote. Yeah, you can say that. But you've got to counter it by making sure that you do. Now, what do we got? We still got 11, 12 people in the race? Well, obviously, that only one person can win, so that means there's going to be another 10 or 11 candidates that aren't going to win. Odds are your first choice is not going to win. Do you understand that? The odds are your first choice is not going to win. So you better buck up your feelings right now, because they're going to start dropping like flies in the next month or two. And it isn't this time you cannot blame big money, because the top two candidates by far right now have shunned big money, are hated by the inner circle of the party. This is all voters here, people. It's all voters. This is anti-establishment time. All voters on these two. And to some degree, even Marco Rubio is an outside candidate. I know he has some inside the Beltway ideas. I get that, especially on immigration. I understand it, but let's face it: the establishment isn't exactly. They like Rubio for one reason, because they think they can control him, and I think that they're going to be a little bit surprised by that. I don't think he's going to be as strong and as adamant as a Trump or a Cruz or maybe a Carson and a Fiorina, but he's not going to be a yes man. I mean, you got some of the establishment that are saying, well, maybe we should back Rubio because he's our best shot. He's the one that people are going to vote for. He's a good looking guy. He can speak pretty well. He's got a little bit of experience. We can train him to go our way. I think they would be a little bit surprised. So some people are starting to say, well, Rubio, and I've said it, Rubio is the establishment candidate, but not for the reasons that Jeb Bush and Chris Christie are establishment candidates. Rubio is more of an establishment, second-tier candidate, fallback guy, because they think that they can control him, and I think that they'll be a little bit surprised by that, because I know he shifted his beliefs on some of his policy, but that's what people do. if a person has a real logical reason for changing their position, why are we going to hammer them on it? That's the whole point. I mean, humans should be allowed to be able to change if they have a reasonable sense of making that change. You can still be very consistent and change your mind. I'm very consistent. I always say, if I get new information and there's new facts to something that forces me to change my mind and go in a different direction, then that's logical. So you have to look at why Rubio has changed his mind on certain positions. Did he get new facts and information? If that's the case, then it would be logical for him to change his mind. And that's the type of person that you want to be in office. You want somebody who's steadfast, who's steady, who's honest, who's consistent. But if new information, they're open-minded enough to take the information, the facts at hand at that time, to make a new determination, if necessary. What you don't want is somebody bullheaded that decides, well, this is the only decision I'm going to make ever, and I'm going to go, even if new facts come in and say that that's the worst decision you could possibly make, but they're still sticking with their original decision. You don't want that kind of person. You want a person who's consistent but flexible. I mean, think that's about it. You can't do this damn the torpedoes full steam ahead anymore. That doesn't work. Well, it's never really worked. I mean, it's like being on the battlefield and you have an army of 50,000 men and you look across the battlefield and you see, your enemy's got 30,000. So you think you got a superiority and you start marching towards them. Then new information comes in. You get flanked on two sides by another 50,000 enemy troops. Are you going to still go ahead and try to attack that original 30,000 with your 50? No, because now you're outnumbered by 30,000 and you're flanked on three sides. Only an idiot would keep the same tactic. Well, I'm just going to go straight and screw the two on the sides there, the 50,000 that are flanking us. Oh, forget that. Only an idiot would do that. You got to change tactics. Because now there's new information. Well, it's the same thing with anything else. That includes, now I'm not defending or protecting Rubio, but you've got to ask, if he changes his mind on something, why did he change his mind? And I know some people are so skeptical and so twisted and so jaded. Oh, he would just do anything he'd change anyway to get elected. Isn't that what we accuse Hillary Clinton of? So you would stay home and not vote if Marco Rubio was the nominee because he changed his mind on a couple of issues. And you think he would do that only to get a vote. Yet you would allow the one person who we know sticks her finger up in the wind to see which way the current trends are blowing. You will let that person get elected instead. No, I'm just telling you. People think, well, this country is going to hell in a handbasket. It's going to hell in a handbasket because of voters like you who act like 2-year-olds. You know who you are out there. If you sat out 2008 and or 2012 because your candidate did not get the nod, you're acting like a 2-year-old, and you're part of the reason why this country's in such a mess. I'm just telling you. Telling you the truth. You may not. I know. Here are some people out there that are gotten so mad that they turned off their computer or threw down their radio or their phone or something. That right? He's just a jackass, man. How dare he talk? Look, I'm telling you the truth. I have often said I'm tired of holding my nose when I vote, but I still go and vote. I didn't like Mitt Romney, but I voted for him. And I didn't vote for Romney in the primary. I didn't want Romney, but we got him. And I had to logically say, well, who would be better as president for this country? Not for me, but for this country. Would it be Obama in a second term or Romney in the first term? Well, logically speaking, it was Romney in the first term. But there are over 4 million of you who thought, well, I didn't get my candidate, so I don't care who's better. And you sat on your ass at home and elected Barack Hussein Obama for a second term. Thank you very much. So I don't want to hear any more complaints about nothing changes and no. Just don't. I don't want to hear any more complaints about it if you're not voting, because you're part of the problem of why we have the problem. Here's a quick message from this segment's sponsor. Speaking of Barack Obama and him being elected the first time, you know, he brought into being something called the Affordable Care Act, a.k.a. Obamacare, a.k.a. Romney Care, a.k.a. Hillary Care. There are a lot of people who've forgotten that. I haven't forgotten. But people who signed up for the Affordable Care Act are probably paying, you're probably paying $500 or more a month for a deductible that's in the tens of thousands. You hear this stuff all the time. Yeah, my premiums have doubled. You know, some people's premiums have gone from like $700 a month, $600 or $700 a month, to $2,000 a month or more. And their deductibles have jumped as well. They've gone, well, yes, I used to have a $5,000 deductible. Now they're I'm hearing that they're having a $10,000, $15,000, even $20,000 deductible. So they're paying more on both ends and getting less in return because of Obamacare. And the government wants you to think that that's the way it has to be and that you have no choice. But there is a way out. And you don't have to pay those outrageous taxes. You don't have to pay those outrageous fines. You don't have to pay those outrageous monthly health care fees. All you got to do is just visit www.stopobamacaretaxnow.com and avoid being punished with a tax fine for daring to say no to high prices, overpricing in this Obamacare age. That's www.stopobamacaretaxnow.com. And you can get some answers on how to alleviate some of that financial pain. I don't understand why people want to pay so little for their grocery bill, but they'll complain to high heaven about the cost of food and gas. But they don't really complain very much about the cost of their health insurance. And now that they have to have it, I don't hear many people. Well, maybe because the lamestream media isn't processing the complaints, that you're not hearing about more complaints, because I know they're out there on Obamacare. They're out there. People don't like it. But hey, most of the Republicans say that they would repeal. I mean, some of them say they would repeal and replace, but some of them just said that they would repeal it. And we know that Hillary Clinton would double down on it. Now, most of the Republican candidates are going to protect your gun rights. Hillary Clinton has already said that she'd double down on Barack Obama. Bernie Sanders, coming from a gun-loving state, he may have a different position because he really hasn't gone on this ban the gun, which is really kind of different for a socialist Democrat. He hasn't gone the way of ban the gun type of thing. Look, Vermont doesn't have permitting for most types of firearms. As long as you can pass a background check in Vermont, you can get a gun. There's no licensing to carry or what have you. You don't need it. That's Vermont's kind of like the Old West in the Northeast. If you're going down rural Vermont, you would not be surprised to see the old picture. Remember 30s and 40s, 50s, going down rural areas, and you see a guy driving a pickup truck, and in that back window of the pickup truck is a rifle or a shotgun. Hey, you'll still see that in Vermont today. That's legal, by the way. It's legal. And that it is. We'll be back.
Give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Sign him up for the Box of Bait Club and he'll never be hungry again. The Box of Bait Club is a brand new dream come true for every fisherman. Something new and different in your tackle box every month. Every month, another excuse to get outside and do what you love. Don't let this one get away. The Box of Bait Club is currently accepting a limited number of pre-orders with subscriptions starting at $39.95 per month. Find out more now. Log on to boxofbaitclub.com.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-616-8010. That's 1-800-616-8010. Again, 1-800-616-8010. Call now.
Are you tired of commuting to a job that makes someone else rich? Working harder than ever, but getting nowhere? Do you hate spending hundreds of dollars every week on daycare? Having someone else raise your children? With our opportunities, you can start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss, work from home, and live a happier life. At Be the Boss Network, you'll find hundreds of work-from-home opportunities that you can literally start today and be earning money as soon as next week. Go to freedom133.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss. Get out of the rat race. Work from home. Go to freedom133.com right now and change your life today. That's freedom, the number 133.com. Go to freedom133.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You be the boss. Go to freedom133.com.
Attention business owners. We know that owning a business means getting things done right now. So if your right now list includes a new building, call the Right Now Company. General Steel. We can design a building for your business quickly and save you thousands of dollars. That's right, thousands. You may think General Steel only builds large projects or that you can't afford General Steel quality. Well, check these prices. How about a 40 by 60 foot building for under $22,000? Or even a 50 by 100 for under $35,000? That's right, a 5,000 square foot building for under $35,000. And these buildings all have General Steel quality. Best of all, you can still order a building and have it delivered in time to build this year. How's that for right now? So if your right now list includes a new building, call the Right Now Company, General Steel.
800-393-5756. 800-393-5756. 800-393-5756. That's 800-393-5756.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
Boy, man, I had a rough night's sleep. Boy, I got a letter from the IRS yesterday and I just couldn't sleep. Man, I'm dying here. Somebody help me.
IRS problems affect more than just your finances. If you're ready to take back control of your life and you owe more than $10,000, you need to call the tax doctor. Their expert staff can immediately protect you from the IRS and state collectors and get you the best possible tax settlement guaranteed. The IRS has recently released new programs geared in helping struggling taxpayers, where you may qualify to settle your tax debt and wipe out up to 85% or more of what you currently owe. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, call the tax doctor right now. See if you qualify to pay less. 800-989-1694. 800-989-1694. 800-989-1694. Again, 800-989-1694.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge. Back for hour number 2 here on the Rod Eccles Show. I am, of course, still your lovable host, El Rod, coming to you live from my bunkerized home studio somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire, where the state motto is still live free or die. It is not big government or bust. The call-in number that you can call is 603-835-3224. Again, that's 603-835-3224. If you had an issue with my last segment there, go ahead, give me a call and tell me why I might be wrong about you in particular. One of the things that I did, I had to go to New York, and one of the things I always do when I head out to New York, and I chastise myself because I do this almost every time. Because for all of you that have listened, if you're an ecclesiastite, you know that I'm a cigar enthusiast. I like cigars, and don't even try to come at me with it. Well, those are just so unhealthy. Look, I can have a vice or two. I'm just gonna. People tell me I do not look my age. They tell me I look, honestly, I get an average age of early 30s. That's not me saying it. And I know, and I say it's kind of a problem. I know a lot of people say it's not, but understand that when you're in your late 30s, early 40s, and you continually get carted to buy alcohol, that's a problem. Well, that's what happened to me. And you can say it's a blessing in disguise, but hello, I don't live the pure quote unquote life. I like cigars. I like smoking a pipe every now and then, and that's the real legal pipe, not the wacky tobacco type of pipe crap. My dad smoked a pipe as long as I could. As far as I know, it was probably all his adult life, just about. So, and I'm healthy as an ox. I do try to eat right, and I get my veggies and my fruits, and that 5-a-day crap. They changed the government changed the food pyramid again. So anybody out there who's trying to follow the governmental guidelines on nutrition and food, you're an idiot. Stop it right now, because the government's going to put you in an early grave. I'm not being facetious. I'm being serious as a heart attack on that. They have no clue. There are a bunch of idiots up there that try to they change these stupid guidelines, every couple of years, as if your body is supposed to change. Mankind, oh yeah, the guidelines have to change because, humankind our DNA has changed, so it means that we should have different. No, you have the same stupid, just do what you want. Do it in moderation. I'm not like, if most of this audience probably doesn't know who George Burns is, but I'm not like a George Burns. I don't have cigars every day. There are some people out there that do. I don't smoke them every day. Well, one, it's because I'm not rich and wealthy, so I can't afford to buy these things and smoke them like they're cigarettes. It's ridiculous. It's not the whole point of them anyway. But when I go to New York, I usually bring along 2 cigars. It's a 5.5 hour trip for me. And 2 cigars covers it. No, you can't get. I know some people say, "Well, why don't you get those real long ones, Rod?" That you can. Well, because they're usually cheaper tobacco. For one, you can't smoke it all at once because it starts to get really nasty. Towards the halfway mark, you get past the halfway mark of those really long ones, and then the cigar starts to get nasty. And if you can, I know some people they buy these real extra long ones. I call them rifle barrels because they're so freaking long, and they chop them in half with a cigar cutter, and then they have 2. But now you're wasting that much more. Just buy a regular size cigar in my book. I've had the rifle barrel long ones before, and that's why I know you can't smoke the whole thing from beginning to end because it gets kind of nasty once you get past because the oils and everything, they build up and it starts to burn and the yuck. For me, anyway. And those of you who smoke cigars, you know what I'm talking about. So I brought 2 along. But I do this all the time. I always, because I don't know the schedule of the cigar shop. They're in the queue, and you'd think I would learn this by now. But I brought 2 along, so yeah, that covers me on my trip there. But now I don't have any on the trip back. And that trip on the thruway in New York between Albany and Utica is some of the most boring highway that I've ever encountered and I've been on some boring highways, but that's one of the most boring sections of highway that I've ever been on. So it's kind of good to have something to keep your mind occupied instead of just like you fall kind of drone out. But I always forget when that guy in North Syracuse, the cigar shop, is open. And I'm usually leaving on a Sunday. Well, yesterday was Monday. But because I was leaving town, I was thinking it was Sunday and that he wasn't open. But after I got on the highway and got like an hour away, I realized, today's Monday. But I should bring enough to cover my return trip, should I not? But this is the kind of... even I do something repetitively stupid. I know it's going to be difficult to buy a good cigar while I'm in Syracuse when I leave. So why don't I bring enough for my return trip? I don't know. Just old stupid habits that you do that are sometimes hard to break. So I understand how hard, if you're in the habit of not voting when your candidate is not nominated, I understand how hard that type of a habit is to break. But you got to understand, this is not like smoking a cigar. You got to break your non-voting habit. You really do. Just saying. You really got to break that habit. And if you like cigars, go ahead and smoke cigars. I don't care. You like pipes, smoke them. I don't like cigarette smoke. I don't. I think cigarettes stink. And I know a lot of people say, well, cigars stink. I don't think cigars stink. I think cigars smell great. But you'd be hard-pressed to find anybody who says cigarettes smell great. Really. But you get a lot of people who think that cigars smell great. And even more people think certain pipe tobaccos smell great. I know every once in a while, I'll smoke one of my dad's favorite tobaccos, and it just reminds me of him. Kind of something comforting about that. I know humans can be comforted by the weirdest things, strangest thing. I know, but it's when you do something like that, it's simply because of who that person was when they were alive, what they did when they were alive. So, I mean, if there's certain, your olfactory senses are one of the keenest memory triggers. And I think scientists said smell outranks, as far as triggering memory, smell outranks visual and auditory stimulus. It must be because, when you're babies, your eyes are still developing, your hearing is still developing, but your sense of smell is already developed, and you being close to your mom or your dad a lot, you can smell them. Your scent, pheromones, if you will, that you can pick up. And so your senses are geared towards scent. And scent can be a very strong motivator when it comes to memories, which is why when you smell something or think you smell something that is familiar, it nearly almost always automatically brings you back to a time, usually a happy time, sometimes a not so happy time, but it usually brings you back to a period of time that you find that scent to be most pleasant or most effective or most dramatic. So oftentimes, if I smell a certain tobacco, I don't think of my father, 5 years ago. I think of my father when I was like 10 years old. Because of that pipe smell. And I don't know why I go all the way back there, but that's the time that I really think about him, if I smell his pipe tobacco. And that's pretty amazing. Anybody out there who thinks evolution is how all of this got going and got started and ended up to this place, you're a crackpot. There is by far an intelligent design to all of this that we see. There is. No doubt about it. I mean, evolution means that all this stuff is by accident and by random chance. Really? Something this organized and this ordered happened by happenstance. Yeah, no. That's just illogical. Speaking of that, a cardinal, speaking of there being an intelligent designer, a Catholic cardinal, Cardinal Wuerl, Wuerl, look, I'm not Roman Catholic. I'm not anything Catholic. I'm of Protestant descent, if you will. But this cardinal is focusing in on the election, and he says abortion is a fundamental issue. And he says that open abortion rights has taught a generation that it's all right to kill. Now, this is there is a kind of a strange dichotomy to this. Because you have all these wonderful, millennials running around talking about, war is bad, give peace a chance. It's almost like listening to the 60s again. War is bad, war, blah, 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 blah. Killing somebody, death row, all of that kind of killing is bad, 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 bad. And that the United States is the chief bad person when it comes to killing. We're the sponsor of murdering people all across the planet. We're the only civilized, industrialized nation that still executes prisoners for certain crimes. Death row. All that is bad. It's bad, 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 bad. But then they get a little hypocritical when it comes to abortion. Oh, man, it's a woman's right to do what she wants. It's a woman's body. You can't tell a person what they can and cannot do. But, this generation is full of hypocrisy. It's bad to kill an adult, but it's okay to kill a baby. Well, it makes no sense. You shouldn't be able to tell them what to do, but at the same time, they want to be able to tell you what to do. You cannot say stuff that is racially motivated, but hey, we're going to talk about white privilege. Well, isn't white privilege nothing but a racially motivated term? This is the kind of stuff that drives a logical person like me a little bit insane. Because we're trying to wrap our logical brain around an illogical world and an illogical sense of self. And understand that all of this is another reason why we have this president, why this president is so bad for us. We have this narcissistic, self-centered, arrogant idiot in the White House, and he transmits that to all these wonderful little millennials. Well, I'm the most important person in the world. Is what every single millennial is thinking. I'm the most important person in the world. Well, you're the most important person in the world to you. Well, then, your classmate, the most important person in the world is him. And that girl that you want to date, guys, she's to her, she's the most important person in the world. Because that's what you guys were taught in the first place. I'm special. The Barney thing, I love you, you love me. Ha, 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 ha. I mean, we have this self-esteem crap that just went crazy. And understand, China's dropping of the one-child limit rule per house has nothing to do with them trying to keep control of their population, because obviously the population is still growing in China. It's that these single-child households have led to two things. One, the lack of girls being born, because, they find out it's a girl, they only have one child, they want a boy, carry on the family name and that kind of stuff. Very male-centric society, like most societies on the planet. So the girl gets aborted. Not to mention, you have a bunch of spoiled brats. And those spoiled brats grow up to be spoiled, self-centered adults. And the Chinese government is realizing that. And they're thinking, geez, we're going to have a problem here if we don't start allowing, if we don't stop letting these only children be so freaking spoiled. They're going to be hard to control. Understand it is all about control, by the way. How difficult is it to control somebody if they think that they're the greatest thing on the planet? And if you have, 50 million people who think they're the greatest thing on the planet, how easy is that going to be able to control? It's not going to be easy at all. Now think if you have a nation where you've got, hundreds of millions of people who think they're the greatest thing on the planet because they've been spoiled all throughout their life. What's a government to do? If they want to be, dictators like communists, how are you going to control a bunch of spoiled brats who are now spoiled brat adults? Well, we're already seeing the spoiled bratness here as adults. Occupy Wall Street. So this cardinal is on to something when he says that, look, it's taught a generation that it's okay to kill, but it's okay to kill something that you don't care about. If it doesn't fit your narrative. Now, war is bad. That's your narrative. You don't even give a second thought about abortion because you've been taught, if you're a millennial, that it's not a human being anyway. Well, I beg to differ that you would probably, because you think so highly of yourself as a millennial, I don't think that you would think that you were just a mound of flesh in your mom's stomach, before you were birthed. But they don't think like that. They just think, oh, yeah, look, it's all about me. I don't want a baby to ruin my good time. I should be able to do what I want. It's my body. That's what the women are, the girls of today are saying. The boys are saying, well, I don't want to be responsible. Hey, well, half the time boys aren't responsible anyway because they're not owning up and marrying the girl that has the baby. And they go off and impregnate, especially in the inner city, whether they be black or white. And this is not just a black problem, although it is a very huge problem in the black community. Single mothers. It's not just with blacks. You go into any urban center, whether they be black, Latino, or white, and you've got a major problem of single, unwed mothers. And the daddies nowhere to be found. And daddies out there probably impregnating more than one woman. It doesn't matter who it is, but it's all about me. They're not interested in taking care of somebody else. This is what we've been teaching our spoiled brat kids. Now, these spoiled brat kids are starting to grow up and become adults, and they're springing out. And we've done this for so long now that some of us have been. It's just become we've become callous to it. And if anybody wants to go against the status quo, like, hey, put some sort of restrictions on this. Oh no, all hell breaks loose. And the left goes nuts, and then they try to loosen the grip even more. I mean, some people, they're out there complaining about parents are not controlling their kids, but when the parent tries to control their kids, they're the first one calling child protective services on the parents. You see this all the time. We had this case a few years ago here in New Hampshire. A little girl was acting up terribly in public. Dad spanked her. Now, everybody's looking around thinking, somebody should do something about that kid. She's being a little brat. So dad finally has enough, spanks her in the bottom, on the butt, doesn't leave a mark, in public. No less than 2 people called the cops on the dad. But if that girl grows up to be a little bitty and gets into trouble, who are they going to blame? Dad. So it's this whole damned if you do, damned if you don't, because we want to spoil the hell out of these little kids. Well, these little kids, that little brat girl is now an adult. And if her dad isn't able to bring her in line as a child, well, now she's going to be a wild adult. And you're wondering why. You got things like Maury Povich. And this is the type of stuff that one has to think about constantly when dealing, when dealing with the millennials, that's for sure. But you got to think about this on a constant basis, because this is the kind of stuff that gets a nation in trouble. Well, indeed, we're a nation that's in trouble because we've let this leftist agenda creep in, and now it has creeped in so far, so big, so bad, that those who were indoctrinated early are now adults in their early and mid-20s, we call them the millennials, in their 20s. All they have known is nothing but this liberal indoctrination. There has been very little, if any, blowback from the conservative side, because they haven't had the ability to do so, because we've been kicked out of the schools. And so we have this large number of people in this millennial generation that knows nothing but the liberal mindset. And we wonder why they're so screwed up. And they're screwed up because this stuff comes from the top down. I know everybody talks, you got some of these liberals that talk about what about trickle up? Well, no, trickle up doesn't, you're telling me the culture is trickling up from the children? No, it goes from the top down. Adults to the children. And in this case, from the president down. And in the last 7 years, we've had a very stringent, sociological, pathological liar and narcissistic, arrogant SOB as president, who is a Marxist. And you're going to tell me that that's not going to affect the generations that he's the president over. 8 freaking years. Nearly a decade. And that's going to be felt, his presence is going to be felt long after he leaves office. And so we're going to wonder in another 10 or 20 years why these new batch
of 20-somethings are so screwed up. It's because of this guy that's in the White House right now. And you're going to tell me that you're going to sit on your ass because your candidate didn't get the nod. You want to ruin another generation of America?
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. Then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-616-8010. That's 1-800-616-8010. Again, 1-800-616-8010. Call now.
Did you ever look at the stains in your coffee cup and then realize that's exactly what happens to your teeth? Power Swabs is the 5-minute solution to get your teeth white without visiting the dentist. This is Ben Gordon with Power Swabs, and if your teeth are stained from coffee, tea, or smoking, all it takes is 5 minutes with Power Swabs. In 5 minutes, you'll see an average of 2 shades whiter teeth, and in 7 days, 6 shades. It's clinically proven to whiten natural teeth as well as caps and veneers. The secret is a tooth detergent that was developed by Dr. Martin Ginniger that lifts stains off of your teeth. Best of all, there's no messy strips or trays that you have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth for 5 minutes and you're done. To try Power Swabs risk-free, call 1-800-291-5140. That's 1-800-291-5140. I guarantee your bright white smile will have your friends talking about how great you look. Try it risk-free today. 1-800-291-5140. That's 1-800-291-5140.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
Start training for a new career in as little as 18 days. National EMS Institute's innovative boot camp program will train you for a new career. Learn to respond to emergency situations and become a certified EMT in just 18 days. National EMS Institute guarantees 100% job placement. Visit www.nationaleMSinstitute.com today to learn more about our 18-day boot camp. Or call us at 1-800-497-6732. NationalEMSInstitute.com.
Stuck in a boring, low-paid job? By 2017, there will be a shortage of 2 million cybersecurity jobs worldwide. If you have a technical background but don't have a computer certification, you're being drastically underpaid. In months, you could be qualified for a new job in information technology, making real money with real job security. A new career is just a few clicks away at thecodeoflearning.com.
You want to know what time it is? It's time to bring the rain.
Here on thecollegefix.com is our next story. Still got a lot to cover. But it ties right in with the problems that we're facing in this election. I'm not even sure if we should call it an election anymore. And the reason why I say that is because we have so few people as far as the entire, as per the entire voting, legal voting age population is concerned. We don't have the majority of people who vote. So if the majority of your population that is eligible to vote doesn't vote, then is it really an election? I mean, look, understand that this country started off with the belief that only males who owned property, land, should be able to vote. There was some logic behind that, yes, but that not even talking on the female side. There are a lot of men that were excluded, and a lot of these men were, capable of defending the country, and they did, but they didn't necessarily own land. Well, that sort of left them out of the loop, didn't it? At something that they fought for. And that wasn't fair, so that was changed. But that was the original belief. But today, you have this ability to vote, and so many people don't. But then you have so many people who are told so many stories. And when you talk to people about stuff, and you ask them for greater detail, they can't give you greater detail. Why? Because all they know is the surface and the soundbite. And they believe it. And it's, all you got to do is look at Facebook and Google Plus and see all the memes that run. There was just a recent meme that went viral that talked about the lottery. What is it now? $1.3 billion jackpot. And this person who made this meme said that $1.3 billion, if you divide it amongst 300 million people, each person is going to get 4,333,000 or 4.33 million each. Well, the idiot moved his decimal point or forgot that it was a decimal point, not for dollars and cents. No. Can you imagine? So I'm sure he did that calc on the calculator. I'm sure he divided, that $1.3 billion into 300 million people, and he saw the dot, and he thought the dot meant something else. Well, it turns out that at 300 million people, each person is not going to get $4.3 million. They're going to get about $4.30. So, but the problem is that there were some leftists out there who were defending the meme. Because they looked at this meme and it said million, not cents. It said 4.3 million, not $4.30. And so you got these liberals. I'm cracking up looking at this thing, but then you have to realize that this is the mentality of these people because they're taught not to think, but to only react to something that they see. And if they see it, it must be true because it's coming from a fellow lefty. But the math does not work. But that's irrelevant because, hey, there's this $1.3 billion, man. Everybody could get a chunk of that across the country and we'd end poverty. Well, the math doesn't work. Because, look, if 1.3 billion is going to give, 300 million people $4 million apiece, why do we have a federal budget of $4 trillion? Well, that doesn't make any sense. But they can't put this stuff together because they're so locked into their ideology. And it's really frightening and dangerous, but this is what's happening when you're sending your kids. I had somebody ask, should you send your kid to college? Well, no. Unless they're going to go into the engineering field or sciences field, like medical or astrophysics or, science, real science. Or if they really need to learn something like accounting, then fine. But just to go to college is an idiotic thing. It's a vast waste of money. They're going to college to get a so-called business management degree. That's a bunch of bunk because, let's face it, the business that you go to work for, most likely the owner, the CEO, the founder, doesn't have a business degree. I know you hear some people say, I listen, I even watch, on Shark Tank, sometimes those guys get a little, oh, you got an MBA? Now, they all don't get impressed by MBAs. They look at an MBA as well, this person was dedicated and disciplined enough to get that MBA. But as far as, you look at people like Robert Herjavec and Mark Cuban and Mr. Wonderful, Kevin especially Kevin. They constantly ask these people, you've got this MBA, and this is the best idea you can come up with? I mean, they tear these people apart. For good reason. Because college isn't where you go for that type of learning. But what you get when you're in college is you get the wrong kind of ideas and the wrong kind of learning, if you will. And here from thecollegefix.com is another example. There's a video, and I'll post this on rodeccles.net for you to view the video, the full video. College students are taught that most U.S. terrorists are conservative white men. Now, those liberal minds of mush sitting in that lecture are going to fully believe that the vast majority of terrorist activity in this country is conservative white men, even though the actual numbers do not prove that, do not state that, in fact, state the opposite. They're not conservative. The vast majority of them are Democrat or liberal leaning that just went nutso because they're already nuts. Or they're of another ethnic background. Now, of course, you got people like George Zimmerman. That's a terrorist attack, man. They're also getting the notion, the definition of terrorist attack wrong. Because, George Zimmerman was a terrorist attack, but George Zimmerman wasn't a white guy. Yeah, he was. He was a white Latino. So they'll invent new race terms also in order to fit their narrative. Remember, George Zimmerman was a white Latino. Never heard that term before. Have we ever heard of another Latino being called a white? Are they calling Ted Cruz a white Latino? I'm just curious. I haven't heard that used on Ted. Maybe because his last name is Cruz and not Zimmerman, because Zimmerman obviously is not a Latino name, a surname. Maybe that's the case. Oh, you got a white man. Oh, no, he's Latino. Oh, he's a white Latino. Yeah, that's what it is. He's a white Latino. Well, Ted Cruz is he a white Latino too? I haven't heard anybody say it. But in this class, the statistics on the screen, some of them went like this. Since 9/11, most terrorist attacks in the U.S. have been perpetrated by white Caucasian men. Most often by those who are conservative and highly religious. And yet a 2015 poll found that 27% of Americans believe that most Muslims wish to commit terrorism against the U.S. Okay. So Muslims don't intend to commit terrorism on the U.S. They're doing it. And are you telling me that
the people that commit these terrorists that we calling terrorist attacks. Well, geez, I don't know, Fort Hood. No, that wasn't a terrorist attack. That was workplace violence. Yeah, Southern California, back in a few weeks ago. No, that wasn't a terror attack by another Muslim and his Muslim wife. No, that was workplace violence. Now, Tim McVeigh, yeah, that was a terror attack. Okay. But the Tsarnaev brothers, they're white, right? But they weren't American. They were Armenian, and they were Islamic. But they were white, Rod. Caucasian. And they were highly religious. Do you see how they're twisting it? I don't, you want to spend all this money to send your kids to learn crap like this. That's your business, I suppose. But I don't want to hear you or your kid complaining that you're broke because of college tuition cost and the interest rate on the loans. I mean, this is just insanity. I don't. How does this stuff even pass? I mean, you got college students that think that, hey, you know what? We need to have different classes. We need to have queer studies. What? Why? What is that going to do for you? If you want to learn about abstract, obscure stuff like that, learn it on your own. Make it a hobby if you want. I don't care. But the last thing I want to see on somebody's resume is what has your classwork been? What was your class or your coursework like in college? Oh, I took queer studies. Queer studies 101 and 201. You know what I would do to somebody? Get the hell out of here. You're an idiot. You know nothing. You're useless to me. And look, frankly, although I am not for the H-1B1 program because it is being abused, highly trained and knowledgeable Americans are losing jobs to H-1B1 candidates. But I understand why they first started this thing, because we have a bunch of idiots that are growing up because we're not teaching them anything. And employers are saying that they're useless. They're going to have to start from scratch. So, you bring in this H-1B1 person, and, I don't have to start from scratch to teach them. They already got a basis. They've already got a solid base where, the American youth in their 20s, they don't have it. Their base is built on quicksand. Their coursework is loaded up with, their classes are loaded up with stuff like queer studies and ancient queer theory and, ancient underwater watercolor art, history, that type of stuff. It's useless. And companies are looking for somebody who's useful. They don't have time to fully and completely train somebody who's useless and make them into somebody useful when they can already get somebody who's useful. Again, I understand how the H-1B1 program got started, and that's the reason why it got started. And I do fully know that it is being highly abused now to bring down wages and to get rid of the more highly paid people that tend to be American citizens. But understand that, that the H-1B1 is not just affecting American citizens now, because there's so many people that they're allowing in, that those who came in first, their salaries are now up there. And they're being replaced by lower salaried new H-1B1. You have to, right now, the labor statistics are that 17% of current U.S. jobs are held by legal immigrants. 17%. We've got, 94 million Americans out of the labor force. Yet 17% of the available U.S. jobs that are currently held by an employee are held by a legal immigrant. H-1B1 visas are legal immigrants. Almost 1/5 of the current American workforce is now being held by legal immigrants, when we have about 1/5 of the American workforce out of the labor market. See how those numbers correlate? College student today couldn't put those two together. They wouldn't be able to put those two numbers together. They wouldn't be able to correlate and figure something out based on those numbers because they're being told a bunch of bunk that they believe, and when you prove to them the other way, they still want to believe their original way because, hey, their college professor who they idolize couldn't possibly lie to them, right? Couldn't possibly mislead them, right? So in this particular class, the so-called, and I use the term loosely, scholar, the professor, the scholar, made the statement that most often terrorism in this country are committed by white, conservative, and highly religious men. And he said this in front of a class of about 250 students, most of whom were freshmen. 18 and 19-year-olds. Your babies who've just become adult by age only. 18-year-old's an adult, not mentally. Hell, and frankly, they're really not a full adult physically either. Most people don't stop growing until somewhere between the ages of 21 and 25. I mean, that's what we say. I mean, look at it. Especially with boys. I mean, you got 18, 19-year-old boys, and they look like, they're 12 because they're so rail thin. And then what do we say? Oh, they don't get fat. Well, some of them do get fat, but they don't get fat. But we say they filled out. So naturally, there's more mass that their body grows between the ages of 18 and 25. They're 18, 19 years old, and they're still rail thin, and then all of a sudden, for some reason, they become what we call young men. Their bodies finally catch up to their so-called age. You just look at it; it just happens. It's just a biological happenstance that I've observed. It's the way it is. So even at the age of 18, they're not fully formed adults, functioning adults yet. They're still of the child mindset, just out of high school. They're going to believe just about anything that some real adult who's in a position of teaching and authority over them, they're going to believe anything that they say. So you got some 18-year-old white boy sitting in a class. He's a college freshman, and he's got a 45-year-old college professor looking down at him and telling him, son, you young white boys are the problem. And this is how you're going to fix it. What do you think he's going to say or do? He doesn't know anything about the world. So that little 18-year-old student is going to say, okay, professor, teach us more of what we can possibly do. And then that's how it gets indoctrinated and ingrained in their little minds full of mush. So look, we have these pictures and these audio and these videos that are secretly taken because look, it is amazing how many times you can go into a lecture and one of the things that is adamantly stated, no video recording. I mean, it used to be okay to audio record, for notes reasons. There are a lot of colleges now and a lot of professors that do not or would prefer that you did not bring any recording device in or do not record the lecture in any form. Because they know what they're saying is a bunch of bullshit. And they don't want to be caught saying it. And they don't want to be caught teaching it. Which is why when you have these videos, it's like hidden video.
Because they do not want they'll say, well, because, they can show other people and other people will get this education without paying for it. Oh, that's a bunch of bull crap too. Because they can't they're not going to give them a degree if they don't pay for it. It's all about the money, by the way. Big education. Hello. All about the money. Speaking of all about the money, Affordable Care Act. That's right. Are you sick and tired of the constant financial pressures that our government, and including some of our colleges, are repeatedly putting on our hardworking, decent people, decent citizens like yourselves? Anybody who's listening to this program, because you're listening, you must be a decent citizen. You must be a hardworking, because lazy roustabouts aren't going to listen to this. We're not going to listen. So decent, hardworking people like you're the ones that are listening, and you're the ones that are suffering and having to pay all these high bills, including the high bill for the Affordable Care Act. Now, just got to tell you that StopObamacareTaxNow.com feels your pain. They've heard all the horror stories surrounding the Affordable Care Act, and when you actually look at the facts that I talk about constantly here. When you look at the facts about the Affordable Care Act, a.k.a. the Obamacare Act, a.k.a. Romney Care, a.k.a. Hillary Rodham Clinton Care, the numbers just don't add up. They don't add up. No, people are losing their coverage that they thought that they were going to get to keep. They're losing their doctors that they thought they were going to get to keep. They're finding that their premiums are jumping, sometimes 50, 100% at a time. They're finding that their deductibles are jumping, 50, 100% at a time. They're doubling, like almost overnight. And people are just complaining, but they have nowhere to go, so they think, because if they don't have health coverage through this Affordable Care Act, they're going to get a fine from the government. And so they think that they're caught between a rock and a hard place. Well, I'm here to tell you that if you go to www.stopobamacaretaxnow.com, you can find out how you don't have to be a victim to Obamacare. That's right, www.stopobamacaretaxnow.com, and see if you can relieve yourself from some of this stress that our government is placing upon you. It's worth a shot, worth checking out. www.stopobamacaretaxnow.com. And maybe you can get some relief. I'm hoping so. I really hope that you do, because it's how awful is it to be stuck with that kind of stuff? But in any case, you're also stuck with the fact that you're sending your kid to a college that's teaching them to hate the American way of life. That's just the truth, folks. That's the truth. And I don't know how you would say that when you look at what's actually happening and the actual terrorist attacks, and you're going to say that it's mostly conservative, highly religious men, how misleading is that? But this is the kind of stuff that's being taught in our classes. Kind of like, by the way, this is a story out of, it's from WND, but this is the time of year when people go to the gym because they have all these wonderful New Year's resolution. Well, this is from WND.com. Planet Fitness. Well, the title of the piece is Planet Freakness. Planet Fitness. Woman sounds alarm on a man in the woman's showers, but the woman gets the boot. Because, and they're saying, this is coming from Planet Fitness, the woman got the boot because she refused to submit to the health club's judgment-free zone. So now it's judgment. You have to be if you find a man in the woman's shower room, I guess the women are just supposed to accept it because otherwise you're passing judgment, and this is a judgment-free zone. What's going to be next at Planet Fitness? Really? Is it going to be orgies? After all, orgies in the locker room, you can't complain because that would be passing judgment, would it not? Yeah, we'll be back.
Give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Sign him up for the Box of Bait Club and he'll never be hungry again. The Box of Bait Club is a brand new dream come true for every fisherman. Something new and different in your tackle box every month. Every month, another excuse to get outside and do what you love. Don't let this one get away. The Box of Bait Club is currently accepting a limited number of pre-orders with subscriptions starting at $39.95 per month. Find out more now. Log on to boxofbaitclub.com.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-616-8010. That's 1-800-616-8010. Again, 1-800-616-8010. Call now.
Are you tired of commuting to a job that makes someone else rich? Working harder than ever, but getting nowhere? Do you hate spending hundreds of dollars every week on daycare? Having someone else raise your children? With our opportunities, you can start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss, work from home, and live a happier life. At Be the Boss Network, you'll find hundreds of work-from-home opportunities that you can literally start today and be earning money as soon as next week. Go to freedom133.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss. Get out of the rat race. Work from home. Go to freedom133.com right now and change your life today. That's freedom133.com. Go to freedom133.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You be the boss. Go to freedom133.com.
Attention business owners. We know that owning a business means getting things done right now. So if your right now list includes a new building, call the Right Now Company. General Steel. We can design a building for your business quickly and save you thousands of dollars. That's right, thousands. You may think General Steel only builds large projects or that you can't afford General Steel quality. Well, check these prices. How about a 40 by 60 foot building for under $22,000 or even a 50 by 100 for under $35,000? That's right, a 5,000 square foot building for under $35,000. And these buildings all have General Steel quality. Best of all, you can still order a building and have it delivered in time to build this year. How's that for right now? So if your right now list includes a new building, call the Right Now Company, General Steel.
800-393-5756. 800-393-5756. 800-393-5756. That's 800-393-5756.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
Boy, man, I had a rough night's sleep. Boy, I got a letter from the IRS yesterday and I just couldn't sleep. Man, I'm dying here. Somebody help me.
IRS problems affect more than just your finances. If you're ready to take back control of your life and you owe more than $10,000, you need to call the tax doctor. Their expert staff can immediately protect you from the IRS and state collectors and get you the best possible tax settlement guaranteed. The IRS has recently released new programs geared in helping struggling taxpayers, where you may qualify to settle your tax debt and wipe out up to 85% or more of what you currently owe. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, call the tax doctor right now. See if you qualify to pay less. 800-989-1694. 800-989-1694. 800-989-1694. Again, 800-989-1694.
You want to know what time it is? It's time to bring the rain.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
Welcome back. Here we are, heading into hour number 3, the final hour of the Rod Eccles Show this Tuesday morning. Your new morning routine. I cannot believe it's, the 2 hours are in the bag already. Unbelievable. No, I'm not going to expand to do a 4-hour show. That's not going to happen. But I got more stuff here than I'm going to be able to cover in the last hour. But I will endeavor to inform you of all that I know. I know it's an impossibility, but we will definitely try to honestly touch on as much as we possibly can, and I will give it my full attention as best I can for you to fully understand as best you can. Planet Fitness. Planet Fitness. Well, evidently there's something going on in Michigan. With the Planet, now understand that Planet Fitness, I do believe, are franchised. It's a franchised company, and in this particular case involves a franchise in Michigan, not the actual Planet Fitness Corporation itself. Now, I do believe that I'm not very familiar with how many units, as it were, are actually owned and operated by the parent company, Planet Fitness. I don't have those numbers, but I do know that it is franchised, and that they're popping up all over the place. Planet Fitness, and their big thing, their big thing is judgment free. No judgment zone, judgment free zone. So in other words, I've never been a member at Planet Fitness. I don't think I've ever actually entered a Planet Fitness, and we've got quite a few around me. So I don't know how they're run from the inside. I can only speculate, and I can only tell you from the reports that I've heard. But evidently, Planet Fitness is known for being a type of fitness place where you're not going to find like
Arnold Schwarzenegger types of people going there. You're not going to hear, weights clanging and banging and people grunting, and it's not going to, it's more for the average person who wants to get in shape, decent shapes, or stay in decent shape, not for the serious bodybuilder. Now, I could be wrong by that because I've never been into a Planet Fitness, but that's what I'm hearing about Planet. It's for, the average person who's intimidated by going to someplace like, say, a Gold's Gym, where you might find, bodybuilders that are looking to try to get on the bodybuilding circuit, and all you're hearing is the crashing and clanging of free weights and people grunting and yeah, man, that's I guess that doesn't happen at Planet Fitness. And you're not supposed to, you're not going to get fat shamed, from what I understand, if you go to Planet Fitness. People that are overweight and they try to get in shape, you're not going to be looked upon, or you're not supposed to be looked upon as being something less than worthy to being in the gym. After all, that's what you're going to the gym for, is to try to get back in shape, right? Okay. So with that said, this is a story from WND.com. Planet Fitness, the title is actually by Bob Unruh, UNRUH. Planet Freakness. Woman sounds alarm on a man in the shower, and the woman, she gets the boot because the gal refused to submit to health club's judgment-free zone. Now, when I saw this run across my newsfeed, I'm like, what's a guy in the shower got to do with, in a woman's shower, got to do with the judgment-free zone? I thought immediately, they got to be playing this particular card, and you know what card that they're going to be playing on this one. So here's the rub. Here's the story. A Michigan company running health clubs ejected a woman and canceled her membership after she warned other women that she had found a man using the woman's locker room with the company's permission. So, again, hey, women, you're supposed to be out there, you liberal women, you're supposed to be out there, being all for women's rights and protecting women and keeping, these predatory men away. And here this woman finds a man in the woman's locker room, warns other women, and the company boots the woman for telling other women. So she did that, got booted, and then she filed a lawsuit, obviously. But a Michigan judge tossed her lawsuit over the ejection, telling her she had no grounds for complaint, i.e., probably, you have no standing. This is why I say that's kind of it's a bull BS type of claim. The result will be an appeal of the case to the higher courts, obviously, according to the law firm working on the case. A statement from lawyers at Kelman Legal Group explained, quote, "It is clear that the appellate courts in Michigan will have the final say in this case." Now, the original action was filed on behalf of Yvette Cormier, Cormier, who alleged Planet Fitness breached the contract, violated the Elliott Larson Civil Rights Act, and more when it created a policy for its health club that's always a judgment-free zone where any person identifying as either sex can use a locker room associated with that physical gender. So, a guy who's, I identify with being a woman. And so, thus, he gets to freely use the woman's locker room. Thus, an open door when a large, tall man was a guest at the club and alleged he identified as a woman. He went into the woman's facility where Cormier obviously encountered him. Now, she complained to the company and left without additional options, went into the facility to warn other women about the fact that a man had been found using it. So the fitness club contacted Miss Cormier on March 4th, 2015, requesting she stop warning others of the defendants or the club's judgment-free zone policy. So plaintiff was given an ultimatum to either accept the policy or her membership would be terminated. She refuses to submit to this judgment-free zone policy. Therefore, the defendants, the fitness club, terminated plaintiff Cormier's Planet Fitness membership. So she's telling other women that Planet Fitness is allowing men who verbally identify as women to use a women's locker room. And she's the one in trouble. How twisted is it? And you've got a judge that says, well, Ms. Cormier, you weren't affected by this. So in order for Ms. Cormier to be affected, I guess what this judge is actually saying is that you're going to have to be sexually assaulted, Ms. Cormier, before you have any standing in this case. And this is ludicrous. It is not being judgment-free if you tell a man, even if he identifies as a woman, he's got to use the male locker room. But now, this woman is also warning other women that they allow men into the woman's locker room. Now, isn't the fitness club in and of itself being judgmental of Miss Cormier? Aren't they judging her? I thought Planet Fitness was a judgment-free zone. Are they not judging her? And what is wrong with telling somebody, hey, last time I was here, there was a man in the locker room, so, be careful. But the club says it's a judgment-free zone, so they're going to allow him to use it because he thinks he's a woman. What's wrong with telling other women that? How is that violating a judgment-free zone? You've got a man in the locker room of a woman's locker room. I don't care if he thinks he's a woman or not. He's still a man. You got a man in the woman's locker room. Other women should not be notified and told about that? Because somehow if you tell them you're being judgmental, isn't the company being judgmental on that? Yeah, I think so too. But hey, you're only allowed to be judgmental if you're being politically correct about it. PC. Got to be PC. Otherwise, you might as well just look. You might as well stay home and work out. You don't unless you want to be a bodybuilder or something. You don't necessarily need a lot of weights. Just look at all those wonderful people that buy one of those, the P90X or the Insanity or whatever. What's his name? Sean something. Sean T. Right? Sean Ice? No, not Ice T. Ice T's a rapper. Sean T. Right? That's his name. The Insanity guy. I have one of his packages, by the way. Or buy the Billy Blanks, the Tybo stuff. I did Tybo a long time ago. It's kind of fun. Rod did Tybo. It's fun. I mean, yeah, it's dancey, that's what makes it fun. And I know that there's what is it? The Something Burn, Daily Burn is a network. I guess an online network that you can basically sign up. All that other stuff is probably, Planet Fitness is what? It's only like $10 a month or something. So I understand the allure because it's low price, the cut rate fitness stuff. But understand there's a whole different story behind gymnasiums and fitness clubs and the racket that business is. See, they want to bring you in the door because they know that I think the average industry numbers are something like people who join a gym at the beginning of the year in January, 60% of them stop using the gym within the first 90 days of the year. But they don't cancel their membership. So basically the club only has to pay for you using their facility for 2 or 3 months out of the year because they know the other 9 months of the year you're not going to show up. But they're going to keep getting that recurring. But they don't care. That's why, a club can have 10,000 members. But whenever you go into the gym in the middle of August, it's half empty. Because, 60% of their members aren't showing up on a regular basis. That's how these cut rate clubs make their money. They get a lot of people to join for what appears to be a little bit of money, and knowing that the majority of them are not going to use a facility, at least not on a regular basis. So that's how these clubs make their money. Make no doubt, just ask an insider. That's how they make their money. And then you go to other clubs where it's costing you, like $50, $60, $70 a month to join and to be a member. Well, most of those types of people are more serious about their fitness routine and do use the facilities, which is why the cost is higher. Yeah, they have additional amenities usually over the cut rate facilities, and so you have to pay for those additional amenities, but at the same time, it's being utilized by more members. The membership utilization rate is higher at those more pricey or exclusive clubs, if you will, than they are at the cut rate clubs. And that's how the cut rate clubs make their money, just so you know. And so now you have this cut rate club that is out there telling people that, well, we're not going to stand for your judgment. But people are out there judging. There's no such thing as a judgment-free zone. People are going to judge. Judge, that's what people do. We have judges that judge, right? So people also judge. Speaking of judging, this is stuff that I think that, I know there are a lot of single people out there listening to this program. So you got to be understand what it's like to be single in America today. And this is from fastcompany.com. I know a lot of people are thinking, well, it's against privacy rights, right? I got privacy. They can't do this to me. Well, I often say, well, you don't own the site that you're going to. So be aware, caveat emptor, be aware of what you're giving other companies. What part of you that you're giving to somebody else. You got to be aware and be careful of that, because here from fastcompany.com, Austin Carr has a piece that, and the title of this piece is, "I found out my secret internal Tinder rating, and now I wish I hadn't." Evidently in Tinder, I don't even know, has anybody out there used? I've never even gone to the site. I don't even know what Tinder looks like. I don't even know why they even named it Tinder, to tell you the truth. But it's supposed to be it's a dating site, but it's not a dating site. It's because eHarmony and eCupid or whatever, those are dating sites, right? But from what I understand, Tinder is really a booty call site or a hookup site. I don't use it. I don't know how it works. It's a location app too. Am I wrong about that? Where if you're logged on at the time, then other people who are also logged on can see where you are, and you can see where they are. I think that's how it works, right? Is that the right one? I don't remember. No, I don't use it. I don't know if that's not the one, then there is one out there. That's Foursquare, right? Doesn't Foursquare do the same thing? Yeah. See, I don't know about Foursquare either. I've never used it. But anyway, Tinder evidently rates you. I'm sure many of you out there who use Tinder did not know this. The dating app uses data to give every user a desirability rating. In this article by Austin Carr, C-A-R-R, tells it like it is. Basically, how desirable are you on Tinder? Now, you have to realize that you might not be as desirable as you thought. Now, this is going to burst a lot of, especially males. This ranking number would probably burst a lot of the millennial males' egos. If they found out this. But a score is calculated by the company that ranks the most and least desirable people swiping on the service of Tinder. The scores are not available to the public, but Tinder recently granted access to the writer of this piece, and he says, "I've regretted learning it ever since." Now, referring to inside the company as An ELO score, ELO, a term the chess world uses to rank player level skills. So I guess that's ELO. Tinder's rating system helps it parse its user base in order to facilitate better matches. Now, using the system, Tinder could say surface more potential data based on score compatibility, but to most people, likely to most Tinder users, it's hard not to perceive the rating as a definitive scoring of our attractiveness. In other words, it's just basically a hot or not style algorithm. Okay. Now, the Tinder CEO, Sean Rad, confirmed the scoring system, that there is a scoring system. Now, Rad, who told the reporter of the story, his ELO score is above average, stresses that the rating is technically not a measure of attractiveness, but a measure of desirability. In part because it's not determined simply by your profile photo. It's not just how many people swipe right on you, Rad explains. It's very complicated. It took us 2.5 months just to build the algorithm because a lot of factors go, oh, okay, yeah. So Tinder is the one where you basically rate somebody as hot or not, right? Because you swipe. If you like them, you swipe them right. If you don't like them, you swipe them left into your trash or something like that. Is that how it works? I don't. So I don't know. Why do people? I know this is. It has to do with all this self-promotion, self-celebrity, wanting to be famous type of thing, but by so many of the millennials. But why would you put yourself up to such scrutiny? And then when you did not achieve what you thought you should have achieved, you're going to be hurt and disappointed. I guess it's because so many people think so highly of themselves. You ask people, they've done these studies, rate somebody's looks from 1 to 10, and they'll be very harsh on somebody else's looks, and they'll rate them, an average of 7. But then when it comes to, well, what do you think you are? And they'll often rate themselves, think a lot higher of themselves. I'm not a 10, but I'm like an 8 or a 9. But other people are viewing them and rating them 6s and 7s. And when they find this out, they're like, well, I don't care what those people think. People get indignant. They're willing to rate somebody else harshly. But when it comes to themselves, they don't like being rated as harshly. I don't know where this comes from. I mean, this is this kind of, self-aggrandizing type of mentality that has been instilled in the millennial generation and the younger generation. It is absolutely annoying, and it's very dangerous. I mean, because, people get mad at each other for not rating them as on something as high as they think they should be. You only going to rate my skills a 5, man? Man, I'm at least an 8 in skills. And you disrespecting me. No, that's just what people say. But then they turn around and do the exact same thing. Man, you ain't got no skills at all. You got 4. You might actually be good, but there's this whole internal thought process that says to these millennials that I'm the best. Nobody's better than me. And then when somebody who is better than them at that particular area of life is better than them, they're crushed. They're devastated. They don't want to believe it. But that's the truth of all this stuff. I don't know why you kids would subject yourself to this type of scrutiny. It's kind of frightening and maddening at the same time. I don't know where all this comes from, but this whole notion of people, I guess it just comes from the look. We got Snooki's got a new. I thought I saw an advertisement for Snooki has a new TV program, new reality show.
I don't even remember what it's. Maybe it was I think it was a dating show. Maybe I don't remember what it was. I think because I'm looking at it, Snooki's lost a lot of weight. She's skinny. Because I almost didn't recognize her. I was paying more attention to looking at I'm like, I recognize her from. I know that. Who is that? And then Snooki and her husband, whatever his name is, got this new show. I'm like, oh, that's Snooki, huh? I didn't quite recognize her enough to place her at that particular point in time, but there's this whole notion of people wanting just to be famous. I guess I don't get it. I don't get it at all.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. Then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-616-8010. That's 1-800-616-8010. Again, 1-800-616-8010. Call now.
Did you ever look at the stains in your coffee cup and then realize that's exactly what happens to your teeth? Power Swabs is the 5-minute solution to get your teeth white without visiting the dentist. This is Ben Gordon with Power Swabs, and if your teeth are stained from coffee, tea, or smoking, all it takes is 5 minutes with Power Swabs. In 5 minutes, you'll see an average of 2 shades whiter teeth, and in 7 days, 6 shades. It's clinically proven to whiten natural teeth as well as caps and veneers. The secret is a tooth detergent that was developed by Dr. Martin Ginniger that lifts stains off of your teeth. Best of all, there's no messy strips or trays that you have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth for 5 minutes and you're done. To try Power Swabs risk-free, call 1-800-291-5140. That's 1-800-291-5140. I guarantee your bright white smile will have your friends talking about how great you look. Try it risk-free today. 1-800-291-5140. That's 1-800-291-5140.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
Start training for a new career in as little as 18 days. National EMS Institute's innovative boot camp program will train you for a new career. Learn to respond to emergency situations and become a certified EMT in just 18 days. National EMS Institute guarantees 100% job placement. Visit www.nationaleMSinstitute.com today to learn more about our 18-day boot camp. Or call us at 1-800-497-6732. NationalEMSInstitute.com.
Stuck in a boring, low-paid job? By 2017, there will be a shortage of 2 million cybersecurity jobs worldwide. If you have a technical background but don't have a computer certification, you are being drastically underpaid. In months, you could be qualified for a new job in information technology, making real money with real job security. A new career is just a few clicks away at thecodeoflearning.com.
Bring the rain.
Tinder. I'm not sure how you can get your Tinder. I think you got to ask the company. I don't know if they're actually going to reveal it to you or not. But they keep telling this reporter that he doesn't really want to know what his rank is. But you get down to the bottom of the story, and it shows that, and he talks about his fragile ego being damaged by knowing his score, because his score turned out to be 946. Now, I have no idea what that means, because I'm thinking of scoring system, 1 to 10, 1 to 20, 946. So, I have no clue, but when he asked what that means, and they think, because 946, you think it's a pretty high score, right? Well, Tinder tells him that it's the upper end of average. Well, what is average? So he's the upper end of average, I guess. I guess I wouldn't know what average and above average is for guys, because he's a young man. Austin Carr is a young man, and he's. I would assume that he's a fairly decent looking guy. I guess I don't know what average is. So in that, what would girls? How would girls take this? Are the girls? Well, I don't know who's rating who, but this whole narcissistic. But he, Austin Carr, the reporter here, he talks about this the narcissistic notion of people and how this could be damaging to their narcissistic psyche. Now, evidently, there's a lot more information, because he tried staring at the screen with his account on there, and they blocked his view, saying that they were assuring him that he wouldn't want to see that additional information. So understand that companies like Tinder are ranking and rating you, and they have all this internal information on you, and you don't know it. Now, understand that Facebook and other social media networks are the same. They also have user profiles of all their users. Hell, I got one. I wouldn't be surprised if mine was flagged as ultra conservative, evil creature from the conservative lagoon, which is fine, because that's what I've done. It's based on my postings and what have you on Facebook. But I know some people I don't like labels. Well, understand you're being labeled. You are being labeled. So you need to understand that pretty, understand it pretty. If you're going to, look, don't give all your information out online. Don't do this type of stuff, and you won't be disappointed. I'm just saying, people often, did you hear? Well, Hillary Clinton is in some trouble now. I know if you're paying attention over the weekend, you heard everybody talking about the possibility of the FBI, pushing to get her indicted over stuff, over her emails and things like that. So, will that actually happen? I keep saying I will believe it when I see it, when I see her on a perp walk. But here on Breitbart, Mary Matlin, she's married to the Raging Cajun James Carville. Everybody remembers him. Mary Matlin is I don't know how they're still married, right? And they've been married for years now. I don't know how the hell that, because he's a raging ultra liberal and she's a raging conservative. I don't know why if James Carville was on Tinder, I'm sure he would get a below average. I don't think he was in his younger days even, he kind of looked mean. He had that look about him. I was kind of scared of James Carville. He just looked mean. But evidently he was able to win the heart of Mary Matlin, and they're still together today, I guess. But when Hillary loses Iowa, so says Madden, Biden or Warren will jump in. Now, this would be kind of interesting, seeing how Warren is just, she keeps saying how much she likes Bernie Sanders. So it would be kind of like stabbing Bernie in the back if Elizabeth Warren gets in. But on the Steve Malzberg show, Republican political consultant Mary Matlin said Hillary Clinton's support comes from the support for her husband, former President Bill Clinton. Thus, if she loses the first primaries in Iowa and New Hampshire, Matlin predicts it will be very likely that someone like Senator Elizabeth Warren or Vice President Joe Biden will jump in the race. Now, understand that I told you last week that Joe Biden was interviewed and he was asked if he regretted not getting in the race, and Biden said yes, he thinks about it every day. Every day he regrets not getting in the race. Look, this is leaving the door wide open. Now, I do not believe, simply because I think Warren is looking for the possibility of being the vice presidential nominee of Sanders. Because I think she understands the political savviness of that move. If Sanders happens to get elected, he's most likely only going to have one term. That gives Warren, because sitting vice president has a much better chance of becoming president than if she just ran as, from the outside. Politically speaking, it would be a much smarter, savvy move for her not to enter the race now, but to be allowed to be on the ticket with Bernie Sanders if Sanders were to get the nod. That would be a much better, because then even if win or lose, she's positioned in 4 years to run for president. A lot better than she is right now. That's just being politically savvy. So I would find it hard to believe that she would jump in now. Not after giving so much support to Sanders, because it would be a political backstabbing that you have of a ranking that you have not seen before in such a public manner. Because it would be a huge public thing for Warren to jump into the race. It would just it would probably give Bernie Sanders a heart attack. So I think it's unlikely that we'll see Elizabeth Warren jumping in. But Biden constantly says how he regrets and how he misses the political game and the back and forth. And that long drawn out "I'm not getting in the race" speech at the White House was just proof that he wanted to get in the first place. And now there's this talk about the possibility of the FBI is saying, well, geez, we've got all this evidence and this information and people have been convicted and gone to jail or been fined heavily for a lot less than we have on Hillary Clinton right now. There's absolutely no reason. The FBI agents from the FBI are basically saying there is no reason not to indict Hillary Clinton and send this to a trial. But if you indict Hillary Clinton, she cannot run for president. Well, I guess she still can, but and Democrats are foolish enough to, keep support. Now, wouldn't this be interesting? Now, just and understand that even though at one point in our nation's history this would not have even been conceivable, today this is highly possible and plausible. Hillary Clinton could be indicted, could go to trial, be convicted, and still be elected president by the electorate of this country. And you're saying that's impossible. Really, we've reelected convicted criminals to high public office recently. We keep putting in Charlie Rangel, Marion Barry. Marion Barry went to jail, got out of jail, and was elected to the city council. He wasn't mayor, but he was elected to the city council of Washington, D.C. How does a convicted criminal do that? So don't say it's not possible, because these people on the left who are supporting Clinton, it doesn't matter if she lied. Big freaking hairy deal. What difference does it make? They all lie. she's still the best qualified person to be president. Doesn't matter. Well, if you're going to go by being, criminal, then yeah, she's probably the most qualified of all the candidates on both sides of the aisle. If it's about being corrupt, yeah, she's by far the most qualified to be the most in that particular area. But there's also other information. FBI expands. There's now the FBI says there are 150 agents now working on the Clinton Foundation case. The FBI is expanding their investigation. You don't do this unless there's something there. The FBI is not in the habit of wasting their time. Now, you can say whatever you want about the rest of the government, but for the most part, the FBI is one of those organizations because of the rank and file. No, I'm not talking about the upper echelon of the leadership, but because of the rank and file. The FBI has come to be one of those rare agencies in the federal government that has been considered to be above reproach. That they're still generally, it's like the Secret Service. They're still generally straight, honest people working the rank and file of the FBI and the Secret Service. And the FBI is looked at often as being the type of organization that can help bring balance back and law and order back to the United States and the federal government. So they're not in the habit of wasting agents' time. So if they put 150 agents to work on this case that's looking into the Clintons and the Clinton Foundation, there has to be some reason, justifiable reason for this. Especially when you're talking about you've got a very ultra-liberal sitting president investigating an ultra-liberal continuation of the sitting president candidate. Why would they do that? There's got to be something there because they would not spend all this manpower, all this energy, all this money if nothing was there. That's not who the FBI generally is. They look at something and they say, yeah, there's nothing there, so we're going to have to leave it for a while because right now there's nothing there. We'll put one or two guys on it. You guys keep looking into it, see if something pops up. But you're not going to put 150 people on the case, unless there's something there. And you got the FBI talking, FBI agents saying, well, geez, the FBI, if they do not indict her for this stuff, of which some people have gone to jail and been fined heavily for less than this that we have, there's going to be hell to pay. Now, I don't know exactly what the FBI can possibly do to other people, but it's kind of one of those things, like back in the it's not exactly the Herbert Hoover FBI, but it's you still don't want to screw around with the FBI. I'm sorry, you don't. Because eventually, because they don't let stuff go. The FBI does not let stuff go. So even if they're told to kind of stand down right now, well, eventually there isn't going to be a liberal Democrat as president. And that conservative Republican president is going to say, hey, what do you know? And they're going to open up, and that conservative president is going to say, bring him down. You can only hold the dogs off for so long, really. But this is what they are trying to do, I guess, is hold the dogs off. But this probe is just growing and growing and growing, and these guys keep if it only can grow if they find stuff. Do you understand? Do you leftists who are listening to this program, do you understand this? This is Barack Obama's FBI looking into Hillary Clinton right now. They keep finding stuff, which means every time they find something, they dig a little bit deeper, they widen their net to look at more stuff, and they find more stuff, which means they have to dig deeper, and they broaden the net, and they find more stuff. Now they're encompassing the Clinton Foundation because they found so much stuff that says, wait a minute, something's wrong here. Let's look into this. So now they're looking into it with 150 plus agents. And you're saying that she's the most honest, trustworthy person to be president? The FBI doesn't think so. I even got a story here about Uma Abedin, who's, basically a Hillary Clinton's right-hand man or right-hand woman. I shouldn't even say this because I don't even believe it. I saw some tabloid online thing. I don't know what it was that claimed that Hillary Clinton had an affair with Rosie O'Donnell. No, I don't even believe that. Sorry. Even if Hillary Clinton even if she is bisexual or lesbian, ain't no way in hell that thing is going to have a relationship with that other thing. I just not buying it. But here from the Politico is a story about Uma Abedin. Hillary Clinton's right-hand woman. A judge has decided that, the State Department has ordered the State Department to release Uma Abedin's emails, much like they've done with Hillary Clinton. The State Department has agreed to process for public release an archive of 29,000 pages of email from Hillary Clinton aide Uma Abedin. The emails that she sent or received on a private account while working as Deputy Chief of Staff to Clinton from 2009 to 2013. So now Abedin's emails are being looked into. There's going to be some... the Clintons are going to start tossing people in front of them under the bus. They're just going to... the bus is rolling. They can't stop the bus. So they're just going to start tossing people in front of them and roll over them. And that's pretty sad to say. Hello. Yeah, we're going to, in order to save their own... and for whatever reason, when people go down because of the Clintons, maybe it's just because they're scared for their lives, but they do not roll over on the... Nobody has yet rolled over on the Clintons. You had the so-called bimbo eruption with Bill Clinton and his sexual escapades while in the White House. But other than that, you got people that most of those women didn't want to come forward. They had nothing to do with it. They had to be coerced into doing it and then even tricked into talking about it. But for some reason, people do not want to out the Clintons. The Clintons will constantly throw people under the bus, and I know some of their close friends are no longer with us because they've died under mysterious circumstances, and maybe that's the whole point. Maybe that's what has everybody scared. Maybe the Clintons really are a crime syndicate. I don't know, but for whatever, nobody seems to want to roll over on the Clintons. And yet, these people are constantly getting caught up in this web of lies and deceit, and they're the ones taking the fall for the Clintons, and the Clintons are saying, well, they did that on their own. We had nothing to do with it. And these people are not rolling over to say or prove otherwise. They take the brunt. So I think Uma's the next person in line. Hillary's going to say, well, that was Uma's doing. That was her account, remember. I had nothing to do with that. I didn't know that she was doing that. I didn't tell her to do all of that. Those are her emails on her account. I would never. You didn't see those on my account, did you? Well, of course not, because she did it on her own. Don't doubt me about Hillary throwing Uma under the bus. And in the case of somebody like Uma, not only will the Clintons throw them under the bus and roll over them going forward, they'll back up a couple and go forward a couple of times on her. And this is... I don't know. I mean, it's just absolutely unbelievable. The criminality, the corruption that is the Clintons. And now they've roped their daughter into the family business. I can't trust, Chelsea used to be that innocent little She wasn't a very pretty child. Chelsea's actually gotten a hell of a lot better looking since she's grown up. But they've taken this innocent little girl, and they have twisted her so. Hillary, Chelsea Clinton is now no better than her parents in my book. I mean, they well, I mean, you're going to stick up to you're going to stick up for your parents, but she's gone beyond just sticking up for them, and she's full-fledged involved. As far as I'm concerned, from what I can see now I could be wrong if once all the evidence comes out. But from the little evidence I've seen, she's knee-deep in this stuff. She's neck-deep in this stuff. So, I don't have any sympathy for anybody in that family. Well, I guess, they're kids now. They're Clinton's grandkids, Chelsea's kids. I don't understand how that investment banker married into the Clinton family. Well, obviously there's something there that he knows that the rest of us don't. You don't hear or see him either. He keeps out of the limelight for the most part. Yeah, I can't even remember his name off the top of my head, but yeah, he stays out of the limelight. He doesn't want anything to do with it. Quickly though, do you still want to say no to health insurance? And not be penalized with a mandated tax fine that is mandated under the Affordable Care Act, a.k.a. Obamacare, a.k.a. Romney Care, a.k.a. Hillary Care. Now, the government wants you to think that you don't have a choice. They want you to think that you don't have a choice about a lot of things. But they really don't want you to think that you don't have a choice about this without being punished for not having health insurance. So basically the government is saying pay out or pay up. One way or the other, you're going to pay the government. Well, there's a great way that you can say no to this type of illegality, extortion, and get away with it. But you got to visit www.stopobamacaretaxnow.com to find out more about how you can say no to high mandated health insurance costs, say no to being punished for not having the health insurance that the government wants you to have, and to say yes to living more freely like you were meant to do because you're an American citizen. Just visit www.stopobamacaretaxnow.com to find out more. And the more is you got 150 agents, FBI agents, working on the Bill and Hillary and Chelsea Clinton Foundation case. And a judge orders the Uma Abedin emails to be released. And the FBI is out there saying, well, geez, if she's not indicted because people have actually been convicted and fined for less than this. Yeah, and they have a legitimate gripe on that. They really do. Can't blame them on that. Have you noticed that gas prices? I mean, gas prices are going down. They're talking about that a barrel of oil could hit $20, as low as $20. That for a short period of time before it rises, that in some places in the country that gasoline could hit $1 per gallon. Well, those would be great. But not for the oil industry. Not at all. And the EU is cracking down on gun ownership even after all the terror attacks and the rapes lately in Germany. And German officials says that 10 million more migrants are expected to enter Europe. So better be prepared over there in Europe. Get your gun while you can. Well, looks like this is just about it for today. We'll be back here tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel, of course. I'm Rod Eccles. This has been the Rod Eccles Show. Have a wonderful afternoon and evening. I'm out.